The global container transportation market has grown substantially over the past decade. The Baltic and International Maritime Council states that there is a continuous increase in the tonnage of newly commissioned container ships, requiring an increase of approach channel depths and the technical modernization of existing seaports. This situation brings to the forefront the necessity of constructing new, deep-water ports on the Baltic, with the application of advanced equipment, recent developments, and modern port industry technologies. The experts forecast a significant increase of sea freight costs in the immediate future. These assumptions are stipulated by the application of higher environmental standards to marine fuel. Application of these new standards will lead to the decommissioning of small-sized vessels and the replacement of those with more advantageous supersized tonnage fleets. The construction of ports with the maximum possible depth in the Baltic, taking into account the 16-meter Danish passages, will prove to be a solution for this situation. The use of larger vessels and the extension of ocean lines to Russian terminal ports on the Baltic are the only factors that can ensure the decrease of transportation-specific costs. According to expert opinion, the construction of a deep-water port in the historical section of St. Petersburg is commercially unviable. The existing terminals of St. Petersburg's biggest port do not provide the required depth, technical berthing facilities, or equipment. Besides, the expenses for the dredging works of a 40-kilometer-long approach channel would be enormous for the federal budget. The new deep-water port, Bronka, located outside the city, provides a number of undeniable economic and social advantages. The new multi-purpose sea cargo complex, Bronka, will contribute to the concentration of cargo in the Russian ports and the maintaining of the transportation and economic security of Russia. The launching of the deep-water Bronka port in St. Petersburg allows for cargo delivery without transshipment through European port hubs, as well as a reduction of voyage lengths and carriage costs. This being the case, the savings to vessel operators and lines would reach up to 10% due to the decrease of turnaround time and fuel costs for the fleets of international lines. The modern deep-water port of Bronka is able to berth and handle the post-Panamax class of container vessels with capacities of up to 8,100 TEUs and Finstar-class ferries. The MSCC Bronka project's implementation will considerably reduce pressure on St. Petersburg's road network and improve the environmental situation. The Bronka port's well-developed transport infrastructure and direct connections to federal roads and the Russian railway system will reduce costs for both Russian importers and exporters. In addition, St. Petersburg's urban development plan stipulates for the development of a business area as well as production and logistics infrastructures in the territory adjacent to the Bronka port. The design and construction of the port were carried out with special emphasis on environmental issues. Complex research was performed and special measures were taken to assess and minimize the possible environmental impact of the facility. The new deep-water port attracted the vivid interest of leading international container transportation lines for providing the possibility of handling large vessels, extending direct ocean services from South and Central America, West and North Africa, and Southeast Asian areas to St. Petersburg without the need for transshipment in Europe. The investment in the construction of Port Bronka will exceed 40 billion rubles, of which 16.9 billion will be state funds. The development of the Baltic Ports infrastructure project will provide a revenue return of more than 1.5 times on the state's investment and will contribute to the strengthening of the Russian Federation's position on the Baltic. The Bronka project's implementation will create 2,300 new jobs. A special personnel training center will provide various free occupational retraining and advanced training programs to include the training of recent graduates. The new port will contain 3 specialized facilities: a container terminal, a ro-ro terminal, and a logistics center. The container terminal's total berth length will reach 1,220 meters, or 5 berths, and the Ro-Ro terminal's total berth length will be 710 meters, or 3 berths. The container terminal area will reach a size of 107 hectares, the Ro-Ro terminal 57 hectares, and the logistics center 42 hectares. The Bronka port's launching will contribute to the transportation and economic security of the country, provide for the optimal and effective application of state investments, reduce pressure on the St. Petersburg road network, and improve environmental conditions.